Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tony Talks. I am your host, Tony Rodriguez, and this is Tony Talks, Get Up and Grow. It is a show where I have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are also doing good in the world. And today's guest is just someone like that, right? That fits that description. So she is a performance and coach. She's a writer, speaker, and a mentor. She is also she's been an MC at the Habitude Warrior, which is where I've met her through a friend, Eric Swanson. So Yuri's she's passionate about advocating for people getting their message out. She inspires people to do meditation and focus on the power of intention and creating powerful, unstoppable mindsets in order to live a more fulfilling life. And here she is. She is in the green room. She is ready to come on. Let's bring her on. Here she is. It's Yuri Choi, everybody. Welcome, Yuri.
Thanks for having me. I am just so honored to be here. You're so incredible. I'm so glad that we're able to get connected through Eric. So yeah, so glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a little bit of your time. Yeah, Eric Swanson, the Mr. Awesome himself. We met through Habitude Warrior, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 weeks ago. It feels like it was so long ago, only it was a couple of weeks, right?
Different world back then.
Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, that's where we met, and you were the MC at the event, and you were great at presenting, and you've got a fascinating story. You're wonderful, and some of the things that you're doing out in the world is inspiring. So I just wanted to bring you on and share you with my audience as well. So welcome to Tony Talks, which, by the way, this is a conversation for everyone who's watching. This is a conversation with Yuri and myself, but it's also a conversation with you. So if you have any questions or if you have any comments, please type them in the chat, and we'll address any of the questions and answer any we can along the way. And please share this video. We are streaming both to Facebook and to YouTube simultaneously. So by all means, share this link with a friend. So Yuri, tell us a little bit about you.
Where should I start? Let's see here. So I was born in Korea. I'm a first-generation immigrant here. I knew that for me, like positive psychology and just living a life where I can inspire people to be happy, that's been in my journal since I was like 5 years old. So I knew that was something that was going to be a part of my purpose. But, over the years after I graduated from college, I went into corporate. I was doing sales, and sales was amazing. And I didn't really feel like I was living my fulfilling life. I didn't feel like I was living my purpose. So in the last couple years, I've left the corporate world, and I feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to do, which is really speaking about, intention, speaking about meditation, speaking about mindfulness, and just reminding people that there is more to success than what we think of success, and that we get to actually live a life that's fulfilling. And, I talk to a lot of my clients who are sometimes, they're well, but they're not happy, or just people in general. So I love being able to bring people back to their hearts during those kind of conversations. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, but yeah. So I met Eric, I think now 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago now. It's been a little while. And I since then, I've been really meeting a lot of amazing people, and it's been great. Ooh, it's getting hot. Can you hear me okay?
Well, you're getting hot. I know you're in Southern California where it is warm. Some of us are still cold in New Jersey, New York, and but yeah, so I can send you some of our climate if you send me some of yours.
I'll keep my sunshine though.
Our weather's coming soon. So yeah, to your point, one of the things I like to talk about a lot is, and I forget whose quote this is, but we should all strive to become a person of value, not just a person of success.
Yes.
Right? So many people are just striving to be successful that the value really isn't there, right? And I'm an immigrant as well. I was born in Portugal. I came to the U.S. I came here when I was 6. So yeah, it it was an interesting transition for sure. So yeah, I speak Portuguese, Spanish, and even a little bit of English.
Just a little. That's amazing.
So yeah, I understand. I understand the plight of the immigrant, so to speak. But it's all part of the journey. I guess the reality of it is just about everybody that's here is an immigrant. So it adds to the fabric of our lives and of America.
I'm curious, like, do you remember moving here when you were 6?
Oh yeah.
Really? How was that for you?
It was not good.
Yeah.
No, it was terrible actually.
How come?
Well, initially I came here with my brother and sister stayed behind because they had to finish off their school year, and it was just childhood was not necessarily a happy place for me. So, it's one of those things. Listen, it makes us who we are, right?
Yeah.
The hard moments and the things that we go through are the things that really, the days that break us are the days that make us. But to that point, and being from an immigrant family, that people come here, they work, and they're so busy working, they're so busy working for a living that they forget to build their life, right? They're building a business and they're forgetting to build their life. So many times people get stuck in that rat race. They get stuck in that hamster wheel of wanting and needing to do more, and forgetting that the reason that they're doing it is to take care of their family and to be there for their family. So it's so important to just slow down and recognize what's important. A couple people saying hello. Danielle says hello.
Hello.
We have Rosa. I moved to the U.S. when I was almost 18. I didn't speak English at all at that time. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, the plight of the immigrant is real. And I know that immigration is a hot topic, and of course, I think immigration these days is a lot different than it was before. It's a lot more. Well, we're not going to get into that because that could be a hot topic. But Betty says hello as well. Hi, Betty.
Yeah, and I came here not knowing any English really either. Like, I knew a little bit, but not that much. And yeah, that transition was tough. But I agree with you. Like, I feel like I learned so much through that transition. Just like having to learn, like really learning how to, I know that you talked to like a body language expert yesterday, and I learned a lot about body language for like a whole year when I couldn't understand anything, so I just had to pick up on what people were doing.
Exactly. Listen, and you know what? Bottom line, necessity or need is I say all the time that innovation is spawned from necessity and from need. So is quick learning and education. You want to learn how to speak a language? Have somebody, not that this would happen anymore because with technology and everything else, but if somebody was to grab you now and drop you in the middle of Russia, and guaranteed very soon you're going to be speaking Russian. If they drop me in Korea, I don't know anything Korean, but you drop me in the middle of Korea.
I love you there.
Give me about a month and change, and I'll certainly start to be fluent. So yeah, I think I love the fact that I did come from somewhere else, and the fact that I can speak another language or two languages. Matter of fact, this is something that I spoke with Jan yesterday, that there's people that criticize other people that have an accent. To that I say, no, you shouldn't criticize, because that means they know another language. How many languages does the critic usually know? Right? Mm-hmm. One.
Yeah.
So I give people a lot of credit. How old were you when you came? What's that?
I said even a New Jerseyan accent.
Right. Well,
yeah.
When you came over?
I'm sorry?
How old were you when you came over?
I was 11 years old. Yeah.
11.
So I actually went from being super active, super social in Korea, and then I came here and I all of a sudden became deaf and mute, and it was an interesting part of my life. And I think early on I learned that I had two choices. I could continue to be deaf and mute, or I could overcome this barrier as soon as possible. So I ended up reading like 30 books my first summer. I was determined to learn English, and I was like, I'm going to speak this language. Back then there was a lot of like AIM. There's a lot of Britney Spears. So I had to implement this too. So that's kind of how I learned English. But yeah, I totally agree with you as far as like if you have the mindset of adapting, like you can be dropped off anywhere and you can make it work.
Oh, we're the most adaptable, creature that we know, right? It's the human being. So Rosa says it's been a long journey for sure. She's grown in so many ways as part of this journey. The change made her who she is today, and personal development has kept her going. Yeah, it absolutely makes us who we are. And Dana says hello, Yuri, rockstar.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing.
Yeah,
yes.
Let's see. I've been so undermined for having an accent while it used to hurt me. I am learning to simply know that it is not an inability, but a superpower because I know another language. Absolutely, Rosa. And for anyone who thinks about it, just don't criticize. Just remember that, not only if you have a strong accent, that means you have to learn the language later on in life, which is not an easy thing to do. So I applaud you, Rosa. And for everyone who's here and who struggled to come here and everything else. And again, not to touch the hot button, the hot topic of immigration, but I think immigration is absolutely necessary. It's essential for the growth of this country. But I am a big believer in controlled immigration.
Yeah, Rosa, I love that she calls us a superpower. Like I think that everything that we can often think about as an insecurity or something that is a weakness can easily be a superpower. And I love that she's bringing that up because I have a client who, has a learning disability. And since he was young, he had this idea, having dyslexia was like a bad thing or something to be ashamed of. And then, he's learning to recreate that relationship with it and just really recognizing that that's actually what created him today. All the hard work, all the different traits that are amazing about him was actually created from that. So I love that she sees that as a superpower. I totally agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think because whenever you have a different ability, to use Dana's words, right? If you've got a different ability, you have to compensate in other ways, and many times what you have to use to compensate will actually overshadow what it was that you could have done had you done it the regular way. So I think I don't think that an accent is I don't think it's a weakness at all. I mean, it can be perceived that way, not a weakness. Maybe a weakness is the wrong word, but and if it undermines you in some way, don't let it. Just remember that everybody's different, and everybody. As someone who speaks multiple languages, it's easier to adapt and understand other people. I can still understand people that have a really bad accent. People are like, how the hell do you understand that? I says, that's just the way my mind processes and looks for what it means. Because that's how I learned. I never took Spanish. I learned how to speak Spanish through speaking with clients and and just kind of organically. But you've got to have an ear to it. So Betty says accents are sexy.
Yes, I totally agree.
And
one of my best friends I made in 7th grade, I don't think I actually spoke to them for the first 3 months. Like it was like all broken, like words and like body language. And like, when you're young, you can access that a lot easier. And just like, and that's a part of like what I love like talking about, which is like this energy. It's not sometimes the words, it's the energy that you carry or the energy that you emit that speaks louder than the words that you're speaking. And I learned that very early on.
Yeah, you would love yesterday's show then, because it's all about nonverbal communication, because our communication is words are only 20% of our communication, maybe 20-something percent. It's not just the words that we say, but how we say those words.
Totally.
Everything from your speed and tempo,
your
pitch, and how high you say and what emotion you put behind it is going to give a completely different meaning. And nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it, right? So actually, Tony Robbins shares this story like this. Talk about language and the power of language and inflection. And the dog bit Johnny. Johnny bit the dog. Right? Same word, very different experience, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just the words that we use, but it's how we say it. It's the speed and tempo and the emotion behind what we put behind our words. Because even what I'm saying right now, if I speak a lot with my hands. I'm from New Jersey. I'm not going to give the Jersey hand signal. But the way we speak and everything that we say and how we say it and how we pronounce and project and everything else is everything. Because if I was just sitting here and I was talking to you about, it's just the way we project our language and our words and what we're doing and how we matter, right? So that's communication is much more than just words.
Totally.
So anyway, long way around to getting to that.
Yeah, you're a trainer with Tony Robbins, right? I love Tony Robbins. He's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a trainer with Tony. I've been doing that for a while, and part of my passion. And he's certainly been one of my biggest mentors throughout the years. There have been several, but he's certainly the one that is the standout for sure. So let's see. Rosa says having the ability to connect with so many people around the world in both languages, superpower for sure. Rosa, what language do you speak? I'd love to know that. Betty says, yes, those of us who speak different languages, we have a different mind. Betty, I didn't even know you spoke another language. I want to know what that is too. And Dana, we are talking syntax. Yeah, well, it's all part of it, right? Syntax, it's everything. It's inflection, it's all of it. Totally. So communication is everything, my friends. And just remember to put emotion behind your words. And your body says so much.
Do you dream in English? Do you dream in English?
That's actually an interesting question, because they say that your primary language is the language you think and dream in. Right? So that's when you know that your primary language is shifted.
Yeah.
And I do think in English and I do dream in English for the most part. Unless I'm in a different country, oddly enough, then I tend to dream a little bit in Spanish or Portuguese or whatever it is. It's kind of interesting. And Betty says she's fluent in Polish and Spanish conversation.
Wow.
Awesome.
So cool.
I know how to say kibasi. That's about it. Actually, that's not true. I know how to sing happy birthday in Polish.
Isn't it his birthday here? Because he'll sing it.
Yeah. It was mine a few days ago.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Can you sing it in Polish?
I can sing it in Korean.
Oh, I want to hear it.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know I was going to sing here today.
You never know what's going to happen on this show.
I know. Okay. I mean, it's the same tune. It goes, 생일 축하합니다. 생일 축하합니다. It's like, happy birthday to you. 생일 축하합니다. 생일 사랑하는 Tony. 생일 축하합니다.
Awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. That is the first. I've never had happy birthday sung to me.
I'm not singing happy birthday on a Facebook Live. So there's a first here.
See, there you go. See, who knew? You never know what's going to happen over here.
Yeah. So what are you excited for this year? What are you creating this year for your birthday and this year?
Well, my birthday already passed. My wife actually, we had a couple of people join us on Zoom, and we had meditation in the morning, soul sync meditation, and then we had tango lessons at night.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, very cool. And Betty says stola. Yeah, stola shiana. See, look, I know some of it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I don't remember all of it. Awesome. Yeah, so it was great. It was a good time. And listen, it was a great birthday, and it's going to be a great year. We're having our gap quarter right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That gap in college. Unfortunately, we're having the gap quarter. I hope everybody's making the most of it. Listen, you know what came out of it? I decided to do Tony Talks daily. This was something that was done weekly, and then it dropped off a little bit, and I decided to do it daily. So I've been doing them daily. I think I've done 40 in a row right now.
That's incredible.
Yeah, about 40, actually more, 40, 47 or something in a row. So, and I've got like the next 2-3 weeks booked out already, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah,
people coming. Yeah, Rosa. Let me see.
So what
piece? Yeah.
You look sharp on your birthday, black tie. Woot woot.
Yeah. I put a tux. Well, it wasn't a full tux, but yeah, it was cool. She says,
Well,
see, I am creating world peace. Yeah, listen, spreading a little peace, spreading a little love. Listen, the purpose of my life is to help ease suffering and help people grow through what they go through, right? Help people grow through the difficult moments and get over difficult thoughts and ideas and in the past, things that are holding them back, help them get to that high performance level. Because, I know that you're a performance and performance coach as well and fulfillment coach. So I also do that. I'm a high performance strategist, life and business strategist through everything that I've learned and been through in my life. So listen, this year is just about making impact. Just like you're out there, you're speaking, you're involved in different summits and different platforms. Unfortunately, I had a few stages I was going to be on this year, but that's been kind of rescheduled. A lot of them been rescheduled, including my own event. I was going to have my own event a couple of weeks ago, and that had to get pushed back as well. So, but listen, life is happening for us, not to us.
Totally. What's been like the coolest thing? So one thing I'm hearing is that you got to do this every day, and I can't even imagine how many amazing people you've met. What else has shifted for you since this quarantine that you wouldn't have done like otherwise? I'm curious.
Well, I'm certainly spending a lot more time with my kids, which is good. And in a weird way, I am and I'm not, because I'm spending a lot more time on social media, right? Between the numerous Zoom calls throughout the day and the summit that I'm attending, or that I was invited to participate in, or the other podcast that I'm a guest in, and then I have this one that takes a little bit of time to prepare and prep for. What else did I do? I got to redo the landscaping in front of my house this year. I've got, like I said, I think I told you, I've got plenty going on here. Everything that being on a couple acres kind of keeps you busy between, gardening and tree services, and I've got some chickens and beehives and that sort of thing. So there's always something else going on, and I've had a little bit more time to dedicate to some of those things as well.
That's awesome.
So hold on, let's see.
I know you're like multitasking to the max here right now.
Betty says we can't wait for your live event, Tony. Yeah, me neither. I can't wait to get that back on the docket. Danielle says, how do we know if we're a high performer or steps to becoming one? That is a good question. That is a great question to ask Miss Yuri Choi, and I can chime in on that one too. So Yuri, you're up. You're the guest. Take it.
How do you know if we're a high performer? That's a great question. How would you know? For me, I look at people's potential. I believe that everyone can be a high performer. It really just depends on the mindset. And that's why I always focus on the mindset first. The steps to become one, for me, one of the things is discipline. I think discipline has created the consistency and like the building blocks of, knowing that I'm incrementally going towards my goals and have some kind of reference point. So for me, I was actually looking, I shared this on a different podcast the other day. I was looking at nature. I was just looking at going for a walk the other day and looking at the sun, looking at the moon, and just looking at the stars and how consistently they show up. And because of that, even though there's some chaos on Earth all the time, we're able to flow. We're able to create, experiences. We're able to create some things that we wouldn't be able to create if there wasn't that consistency. So I believe that consistency and discipline, having that, and really just going back to nature for inspiration, being like, okay, they're showing up every single day without skipping a day. And because of that, we're able to have this experience. And if we're able to create that balance between the structure as well as the flow, then I believe that that's really setting ourselves up to create even more and maximize our potential. So for me, I think being a high performer just really means that you are becoming better every day. You are maximizing your potential, and you're able to create that balance between the masculine and the feminine energies that you get to carry in your daily lives. And, by creating the structure, by creating the discipline in your life. So for me, it's like yoga, meditation, working out, running, all of that stuff, journaling, that keeps me in flow. That keeps me have a structure so that, during in between those activities, I can flow, I can be creative, and I can have that stable ground to create and being able to stay in that creative mindset. So yeah, that's what I think. What about you?
Well, I think, most people are a high performer at something.
Yes.
or have been in the past, even if you don't feel like you're performing at a high level right now. Maybe there was a moment in time in your life that you were a high performer. Maybe it was a high school sport. Maybe it was a subject in school that you excelled at. Maybe you just, you excel at cooking, or you excel at, different things. What's something that you're passionate about, that you love to do and does not feel like work, and you're better at than many other people, or have been good at?
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's what high performance means to me, is to, and really high performance is always seeking that next level. You're really good at what you do. What's that next level? Because growing never stops.
Yes.
Right? The minute you stop growing is the day you start dying. So the minute you start dying. So yeah, listen, everything in life, you were talking about nature. You look outside. If that tree, that bush that's out there, if it's not growing, then it's dying. The grass, if that's not growing, then it's dying. Granted, it could hibernate over the winter, but when it's hibernating up top, it's still growing its root system in the ground. So if you're not growing, if your business isn't growing, it's dying. If your relationship isn't growing, it's dying.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't, pick it back up when it's starting to get too low and rebuild it again, which is what we all have to constantly keep doing. And that's part of growing, right? Sometimes, you fall, but it's about getting back up. Listen, the name of this show is Get Up and Grow, right? Because we all fall, right? We all fall over with the wind. If maybe a strong wind comes and bends the tree, well, then it comes back again. And as far as the steps to becoming a high performer, again, to Yuri's point, is when you look out in nature, it shows up. And the way to become a high performer at anything, if there's something that you really want to do, we all know what it is that we need to do to get to where we need to get. Most of the time, obviously, sometimes getting tips and getting coaching, which is really very important, right? Getting a coach like me or getting a coach like Yuri, that's going to help you take you to the next level. So the step to becoming one, to be honest with you, Danielle, is to hire a coach. That is, I think, a big part of it. But if you're not at that point yet, you certainly get yourself involved in some groups and mastermind groups, surround yourself with the right people, and really start to do what you know you need to do in order to get from where you are to where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And just do those steps. Do what you know needs to be done. Most people don't succeed because they don't do, or they only do what they know needs to be done when it's convenient, when it feels good. But we need to do the things that we don't want to do. That's discipline, right? Doing what you don't want to do when you don't feel like doing it, right? So that's a really long answer to a short question.
And I love what you said about the whole, everyone is good at something. Everyone has felt that feeling of being a high performer at one point in their life in one way or another. And I love that, because it is it's kind of replicating, it's anchoring that experience over and over again, and then applying it to different areas of their lives. And that's exactly what I tell my clients too. It's I know that you've been good at something before, and let's just see how you can apply what you already know to different situations. And I think everyone has that inner wisdom to be so powerful. And I 100% believe that. So it's the process of, being a high performer isn't to necessarily create the steps, but to remember who you really are, which is you're a seed of infinite potential. So, yeah.
That's it. Absolutely. We're a seed. You're a seed, but it's up to you. You can either grow up to be a tree, or you can grow to be a weed, so to speak. Right. So it's what is it that you've got what it takes, and then your effort is going to determine how far you go and where you get to go. Dana says, hold on. Dana says, what did she say here? I love that Yuri flipped the interview. Nice. Oh, you want to see that one? Yeah, you should watch the interview that I did the other day with the conversation I had with Sean Kelly the other day. He really flipped the script. Go back and watch that one, Dana. She goes on to say, and this was an answer to Danielle's question, being a better you than you were yesterday. Absolutely. Constant, never-ending improvement. Patrick says, hello, everyone. Says, amen. Tony, there really is no horizontal. You're either on the incline or the decline. Absolutely. And important to accept that downs are necessary for the ups, and our net reveals our direction. Absolutely. There is no horizontal. The plateaus are only there to take a break, right? climbing, you're climbing a mountain, you're hitting the plateau and you take a break there. Maybe you spend the night, you rest, you have a meal, but then you either go up or you go down. You can't stay there. Right?
Yes.
Same way, you're climbing or you're climbing up or you're sliding down.
Yes.
So keep climbing, my friends. Keep climbing.
I talk about that too. It is like a climb. And what I love that analogy is, yes, you absolutely need to rest so that you can actually go further. And the cool thing is when you go further up, you can see things that you couldn't see before. And like what I love too, because as you climb that mountain, more possibilities just become more apparent in your peripheral. There's certain words still that I'm like, I hope I'm saying that right.
Peripheral vision, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I love that analogy, and yeah, it is. Like I think this is just a really fun climb, this life we get to live. Totally.
Yeah. Sometimes it isn't so fun. Sometimes you're on the north face of the mountain and it's wintertime and the wind is cutting you, blowing back and almost knocking you off and blistering your skin and giving you this, giving you that. But that's life, right? Life like anything else. There's winters, there's springs, there's falls and summers and everything else. So in many times in life, we forget that we need to, if we're going to reap a harvest in the summer, we need to prepare in the winter and plant our seeds in the spring, so that in the summer it's growing, you're starting to collect some harvest, and then you harvest in the fall again, and knowing that winter's coming again. So it's a cycle. Not everything. Listen, not everybody runs and hides in the winter under their blankets. A lot of people go out and ski.
Yeah.
You got to figure out which one of those you are, and figure out whether you're going to buy skis or just another blanket. Yeah, you can do both, but
yeah, I was gonna say I do both.
Oh no, absolutely. And listen, and the climb up the mountain is I love it because as the saying goes, the man at the top of the mountain did not land there. Climb it, right? You have to climb it. And there's a saying that I read the other day, which was fantastic. It said, I tell everybody, I encourage everybody to share their story. And what this quote said is that you should share your story of your climb up the mountain and the difficulties and the trials and tribulations, because your story of your climb could be somebody else's survival guide climbing that same mountain.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. Yeah. I've had a lot of moments where I feel like I faced a storm on that climb. And I 100% believe that without those, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So absolutely.
Listen, the storms come to wash away the dirt of yesterday. They come to water the grass and the trees and everything else. And even if there's a storm, you're going through a storm, if you climb that mountain high enough, you'll be above the storm. You'll be above the clouds. And sometimes you're up in the sunshine, you're looking down, you see the clouds, and it's raining down there.
Yeah.
But know that the sun rises every day. Right? And right now it's cloudy. It's been cloudy all day. But so, it's fascinating. So this morning, it's almost like it happened just for this conversation. So as you know, I walk every morning, right? And I do morning walks. And I wound up taking a lot of pictures in the morning. So today it's all closed up, but this is what it looked like this morning. Wait, hold on.
That's gorgeous.
This is what it looked like at 5:55 in the morning. So that's what it looked like.
Wow.
Right? But the reality, hold on. But the reality, so the sun was coming out. Hold on, the sun was coming out. But before you know it,
it's gorgeous.
That's my pup. Yeah, this is the field next to my house. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is, check it out. It starts to close up, and then the day just went gray.
Wow.
Hold on, wait. Too many pictures. Wait, there's another one. Wait. So now it's just clouds, but the sun is always going to come out, is the moral of that story. So the sun was peeking out in the morning. I'm like, wow, it's going to be spectacular sunrise. And then it gave the colors, and then boom, it went right behind the clouds. But the reality of it is, the sun is still there. The reality of it is, there will always be storms in our life, right? But the storms, like I said, are going to come to us many times to wash away the woes of yesterday, to wash away the dirt from yesterday, and to rejuvenate and renew things so you can start with a clean slate. And there's no, if you got no storms, you got no rainbows.
Yeah.
Rosie said the storms come to strengthen the muscles that need to grow and become stronger for the next phase. Absolutely. It was J.W. Marriott that says strong timber does not. Anyway, I'm a blank on it. But basically, the strong timber does not grow in easy climates. So the harsher the winters, the stronger the timber, right? The harsher the storms, the stronger the timber, because if the trees don't fall over, it's because they have a really strong foundation. So sometimes things come in our lives to rock us. They're either going to knock us over, or we're going to just settle down and drop our roots even stronger. So,
and totally, that's so relevant for what we're going through right now as a collective. Yeah. Like, we are kind of going through this giant global storm. And, in a way, I'm getting also excited while I'm present to what's going on and the hardships that do exist for, the communities out there. I also do feel like out of this, we're going to come out stronger. We're out of this, we're going to come out wiser and just more loving. And I am really, truly excited for that part, the latter part of this whole storm. So, yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yep.
And just because I need to get that quote. Good timber does not grow with ease. The stronger the wind, the stronger the trees. That's his line.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So
yep. And I think that's the thing too, with like personal development, like everyone's gone through some stuff. And that's what makes us who we are. And it's just like those moments really define who we are. Like we get to really redefine what we're really made of. I've hit that rock bottom or whatever you want to call it many times to realize like, oh, at least I know now what I'm made of. And I know that that's always going to be there for me no matter what. And from that place, I feel like, we can create more. And it goes back.
Yeah, I think the storms in our lives come to strengthen us. Dana actually makes a point.
That's incredible. Oh.
She makes a point here, but it's interesting. Palm trees survive hurricanes. They bend with the wind instead of trying to fight it. Yes, this is true. I love palm trees and I love coconuts, but the wood sucks. It is not good wood. You cannot build anything with palm trees except maybe a raft. Maybe, I don't know if I was on a desert island, I guess, but it is not good wood. It is a very porous, soft wood. So it is not good timber, unfortunately, but they do look beautiful. And you're right, they do bend and sway with the wind and survive hurricanes. It is a very resilient tree, but not very good timber. Let's see. If there is light, the sun is up. Yes, exactly. If there is light, the sun is up. Even, and what I like to tell people, and this is actually apropos to this moment, is even the darkest night comes to an end. Even the strongest storm runs out of rain, right? So the problems that we're going through now, and any problems that people that are watching or listening may be going through now, whatever is going on, just know that there will be an end to that problem. A great friend of mine, Anil Gupta, says that in the end, it'll all be okay. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I remember even when my family and I were going through a difficult time a couple years ago, my mom just said, "This too shall pass." And that little statement got me through. I was like, yeah, you're right. It will pass because everything passes. And and every time I learned that I'm stronger and more adaptable. And so it's kind of like when you're sick, when you're sick for just like with a cold or something. That's what I think about whenever I'm sick and I'm home. I just think about, wow, this is going to teach me so much. I'm going to be so grateful of everything I get to do. All those times I said I would go run and I didn't. Now I know that was such a blessing. All those times that I said, I would do so much and I don't, as I'm sitting here in my bed and being sick, then I get to remember that everything I get to do when I'm healthy is truly a blessing. So it's it almost feels like it's the universe is putting me on pause to be okay, just you think about what it is like that you really want, and I'm gonna reorganize it. Yeah, put you on timeout. Yeah.
It's a timeout. No, I love it. You're absolutely right. One of the things. So my life is like a series of quotes, and anybody that watches me on a regular basis knows that I'm a series of quotes, and I've probably already used 5 or 6 or 10 of them. But I'm going to drop another one that I posted a couple of weeks ago, which was, everything that tried to drown me has taught me how to swim. Right. So anything that you're going through now, obviously, with the exception of this global pandemic, this is obviously tragic. There's a lot of people that are being hurt by it, that are suffering, that have, unfortunately, there's been loss of life. It's already hit my family as well. So unfortunately, that's happening. That's happening more often. I just, we got to choose not to focus on that. But outside of this pandemic, I will say that majority of times life is happening for us, and the things that are happening in our lives are preparing us for what it is that we've asked for. Even those difficult moments, you're in a terrible relationship. You know what? Maybe it's preparing you. And I know this is messed up because there's people in bad relationships, and trust me, I kind of grew up there, so I get it. So I'm sensitive to that, and I apologize. I don't mean to offend anybody, but the reality of it is sometimes we're in bad relationships, so that when we come out of that relationship and we're in a good relationship, we can appreciate that relationship. So many times we take for granted what we have in our lives. Like you said, we take for granted the fact that we can just up and go somewhere. We can go on vacation. We can go to this store, go to that one, go give somebody a hug. We can walk to the neighbor's house. We can do this, we can do that. All of those things that we've taken for granted. And perhaps, just perhaps, one of the things that we can learn from this pandemic is how much we have taken for granted, and how much more we can appreciate our freedoms, our world, our life, and the opportunity and freedom to do what it is that we do.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So life, very, very many times, is just really preparing us for what it is that we've asked for.
Totally. And, my intention of starting this year, the word of intention was overflowing. Like, I really wanted to give back more and, create more of an impact to the community. And ironically, because of all this happening, I was able to really step into that even more, giving back. And I was able to, myself and this leadership group I'm in, we created a fundraiser to raise funds for families of affected frontline medical staff. And I know your wife is a nurse, so I'm sure this affects you, not directly per se, but, just what you're going through. I can only imagine like the fear and the scare that you feel. And so it's been really cool to focus on that, even though it's a weird time, even though there's a lot of uncertainty. I feel like I've been able to create an impact in a very surprising way that I didn't think I would be, but I get to live my intention regardless. So that's been really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that you're raising money for healthcare workers that have been impacted by the COVID-19. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Their family. So thank you for that, because that's something that's really close to home. And I was mentioning to you offline that one of the nurses that my wife works with just lost her spouse to it as well, who happened to be a police officer as well. So there's a lot of bad stuff. So thank you for that. And I'm definitely going to connect you with her after the fact. I actually just told her about it shortly before the call, because she just woke up because she was working last night. So actually she woke up a few hours ago. But so thank you for that. And
thank your wife.
Where can people go? Yeah, absolutely. Where can people go to support that movement, to support that cause? Because I think it really is important to support that.
So 2 ways. I mean, frontlineherofund.org is the main website, and also I have my own fundraiser, so I can post both. Actually, between the time I talked to you this morning and today, or just now, we were able to write our first check, $5,000 to a nurse who was affected. She's a single mom, and details to come. But it's cool to know that we get to be a part of this, and knowing that she feels supported by the rest of the community, because no one's in this alone, and I know that some of us not you per se, but some of us are a little bit more removed from the reality of what's going on. And, just talking to you this morning, even, I was like reminded again, like, this is happening. This is like a real thing. Not that, not that I doubted it, but like just hearing these stories, I just remember. And it's not to really bring anyone down, but empower you guys to remind you guys that you guys get to be a part of this impact and part of this, fight against this, pandemic if you want to, and really support these people. So yeah, I would love y'all's support. And if any of you guys are watching and you have like a nurse or a doctor or some kind of frontline medical staff who have been affected, if you know of anyone, feel free to connect us as well, because we would love to help.
Awesome. So yeah, if you can type it in, or I can type it in, but if you want to type it in the chat,
I'll do that after.
Yeah, or do that afterwards. That's fine. Dana is reminding me. Thank you, Dana. You are a rock star. She is asking about your intention ritual.
I mean, I don't know if I could call this a ritual per se. I have this planner that I use. It's like, what is your message for today? So I'll like write, messages for myself, like, you are powerful, you get to be compassionate, or whatever. So yeah, every chance I get, I kind of check in, to be honest with you. Every time I do yoga, which is every morning at 8:30 in the morning, every time I go for a walk, I'm really checking in every time I get, but definitely once a morning. And then, once a week, like, and any conversation I can bring that into, because I think once we forget why we do what we do, we create a life that's meaningless. We get to know why we do what we do all the time, like everything, every little thing. So if we get to know that, we get to create all these building blocks for an intentional, conscious, meaningful life. And I think that's where true fulfillment can come from. Because if you can just tell somebody why you did anything, then it gives meaning, just like you said. It is all about giving meaning to what we do. So yeah. Oh, I have an intention ritual. That's what I do. I write it in the morning, and that's pretty much it. So.
Yeah. Oliver says, Yuri, I like your logo. Is that a myrtle? Do you mean the Get Up and Grow logo, Oliver?
Oh, that's actually his, or this way.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's maybe the thing on the other side that you've got, but it looks like
it's really cool.
Or something. That's good.
Thanks.
It's like you're holding your hand.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
That is a really cool logo. What does that mean to you?
And it's still a work in progress, but Get Up and Grow is a movement that I started where it's about helping people grow through what they go through, right? Because we all fall, right? We all fall, and many of us get up and go, but not all of us get up and grow, and we're supposed to get up and grow. So if you think about getting up and growing, what grows stronger than like the tree of life or an oak tree, so we're meant to grow, we're meant to blossom, right? And we're meant to grow through what we go through. I love another saying, another quote is, so many people think that they've been buried, but they've actually been planted. Time to bloom. Get out of the darkness. And you know what? Imagine this little seed that gets buried. And it was a comfortable little seed. And it was planted in the soil, and it was dark and cold, but it got used to being dark and cold. And then one day just felt an immense pressure, so much pain. And then it cracked and it broke, like, oh my God, I'm dying. But then it starts to push through the dirt, and then it finds the sun. And it grows. So sometimes
I never thought about the perspective of a seed from being the seed. Like how scary that must be to like burst out of that thing for the first time. That's so beautiful.
Thank you. So now I want you to think about, if you're in a dark place and you think you've been buried and you're in a lot of pain and under a lot of pressure, maybe you're just a seed about to crack open through your shell and really grow into what you've been destined to become.
Yeah. Life
may very well be preparing you for what you've asked for, to become that tree that you're designed to be, to grow into that tree that bears fruit that can nourish and sustain others. Right?
Love that.
So anyway, that's just like one of my
little
now
I'm also thinking about, like,
to the right.
what would a caterpillar think, right before it bursts into a butterfly? Like that must be so scary.
Let's think about that. Let's talk about that for a second. If the caterpillar's going along all happy, looking all cute, hoping it doesn't get eaten by a bird, right? But it's going along, and then it gets to a certain point that it basically builds what really, if you think about it, is like a coffin. It builds a cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
The metamorphosis that has to happen. It spends its time collecting its energy to be able to have what it needs to build this cocoon. And then now it goes into this chrysalis, right? Which is basically a cocoon, basically a coffin, and it dies and it turns into like a jelly. Like it turns into just like a goo. And then from that, that's why they say just when the caterpillar thought his life was over,
yes,
it became a butterfly.
Yes, the death of a caterpillar is the first day of a butterfly.
Right. So isn't that life, right? In order for the next phase of your life to happen, maybe the last phase of your life has to end.
Mm-hmm.
So the end may very well be the beginning.
Yeah. I
right?
so resonate with that.
Yeah, we've got to look at it. It's perspective, right? The end of one thing is the end of a life, but it's the beginning of another. And then yet, so tragically, a butterfly, how beautiful is a butterfly? And a butterfly is like so many people. Do you know that a butterfly cannot see the beauty of its own wings? Just like people.
Yeah.
Sometimes people can't see the beauty in themselves. Like other people can see it, but they can't. Yeah. And a butterfly never sees its own wings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm thinking about like the last couple years of my dad's like journey and his cancer journey. Like I remember like that was totally me cocooning. Like I remember that. Like I was contracting so that I can fly again. And it's so interesting because life definitely gives you those cycles, right? Like you have to contract. You get to contract so that you can also blossom again. And I think we have so many seasons in our lives where we actually have, we become a seed again and then blow up again and then seed again and then we grow again or cocoon again.
Happens.
Yeah.
Right?
So
that's what happens. Patrick actually says, today is the first day of the rest of my life.
Woo!
And you should remember that more often. Absolutely. Every day is the first day of the rest of your life. I actually have a friend of mine, Shay Brown, that it's today's January 1st. Totally. Every day is January 1st because it's an opportunity to start your day, your year, your life anew. Every day that we wake up and we take that breath, it's an opportunity to live the life that you want to live, to step into the best version of you, of who you need to be. So a bunch of more people jumped on here. So Robert, what's up? Robert is in here. Patrick's in here. Rosa, let's see. So Rosa asked Yuri, how did you start this healing and spiritual journey of contribution?
Yeah, so for me, I've always been spiritual even since I was young. Actually, it was kind of funny when I was young. You know how like you're supposed to draw what you want to become when you're older? I came back with a picture of a nun and my mom's like, what the heck? Because my mom isn't very religious. Anyways, I didn't become a nun, clearly, but I've always had that spiritual side. And, it really started with, when my dad got sick with cancer a couple years ago and he ended up passing away. He was the first person in my life who passed away that was close to me. And that was the first time I really got to experience what it means to like see the difference between, the body and the spirit. And like, I knew that. I've been a yogi for the last 10 years. So I like knew that conceptually, philosophically, but to really go through that transcending of him, of his soul, like I realized that there's a world that's we can't really touch or taste or whatever, but it's there. I feel his energy all the time. Right after he passed away, I became an artist, which is super funny because I've never been trained in art officially, but he was an art professor in Korea a long time ago. So I felt like I started channeling like whatever his energy or whatever. So I started painting and, in 2 months, like I was able to be featured in art shows and like all these random things happened that was just like magic to me. And then
Wow.
even like yesterday, actually, I was on a walk. I take a lot of walks too. This quarantine is really bringing the walk back into my life. I was walking and I just realized, like, even with this fundraising in the last like 24 hours, I had 2 angel donors who wanted to match my fundraising. Like all these beautiful synchronicities and just like support is coming through. And like I just had a moment. I'm like, this isn't me. This isn't me. There's something else that's helping me right now. And I feel like it's God, universe, my dad, like whatever you want to call it, but like it's there and I feel it. It's so distinct for me. And I just like fell into tears. So yeah, I mean, I think my relationship with my dad, seeing my dad's relationship with death was really powerful for me to activate this whole spiritual journey even more. Because, every time I'd be like, Dad, are you scared? Because, there were months we knew he was going to pass away. And he'd be like, no, just going in for an outfit change. I'll probably come back into something else. And he was just like so surrendering about the whole process. And, it just taught me so much about what it means to die, what it means to live. Because in those moments, from an outside perspective, he was dying. But in my eyes, he was living. He was actually living harder than I've ever seen him live, So, yeah, like I think for me, my relationship with my dad and what he's taught me about life and death and everything in between, which, by the way, life and living and dying, it's like the same thing. We just like call it 2 different things depending on like where your mindset is and are you growing or not, right? So
It's just an energy shift, right?
I'm sorry?
It's just an energy shift.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. But since I was young, I've always been pretty spiritual, I would say. Yeah. So I hope that answered your question, Rosa.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful answer. I love when you said that you just kind of surrendered, or your dad surrendered to it, and I'd venture to say that you surrendered a bit yourself because you allowed. So many times we don't do things or we're stuck because I used to think surrender was a bad word. It was like, because I'm a really shitty quitter. I'm a bad quitter.
Yeah, doesn't it sound like giving up at first?
Right. It sounds like giving up. I'm like, I don't give up. I'm a bad quitter, so surrender. Never surrender, is my kind of one of my mottos, but it's a different type of surrender.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of an acceptance.
Yeah.
Sometimes the more what you resist persists. So sometimes if you're holding up a dam because it's going to fall down, you're holding this dam and you think, my God, I have to hold the dam because if not, it's going to fall over. It's going to kill me. Here's the reality. If you do stand there and try to hold it, eventually it will knock you down and kill you. But sometimes you don't have to hold the dam up. Sometimes you just got to step aside and let the water flow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think surrender is more about allowing things to flow than it is about fighting what you think, how you think things should be.
Yeah.
And just accepting and allowing what's happening to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything is meant to be stopped. Not every flow is supposed to be, held back. Mm-hmm. So that, I think that's beautiful that you're channeling your dad through painting and through art. And to a large extent, I think it was probably because you surrendered to that, whatever that you. So sometimes, for everyone who's listening, sometimes, instead of pushing back or fighting against what you're fighting against, sometimes you just got to step aside and let it flow.
Yes. And Dr. Wayne Dyer talks about this. I know Dana is a huge fan, and he, I was listening to him the other day on this walk. Well, I've taken so many walks during this quarantine, and he's talking about there's literally nothing to worry about in the world because things you can't control. What's the point of worrying? Because you can't control things you can control. What's the point of worrying? Just go do something about it. So I thought that was so simple. Like the more simple that we can get, like, life just becomes more flowy, more surrender.
No, I love it. I love it. Look, and the reality of it is another quote. Told you, I like the series of quotes. Worrying is like praying for shit you don't want.
Yep, 100%.
Right. And all it does nothing for the present. It does nothing for the future. All it does is steal your peace from today. So, worrying is something that we all do. I mean, I still do it sometimes, but I try to just catch myself and say, stop, just let that shit go.
Yeah.
Focus on what you can change. As what is it? I forget what his name. Anyway, he was a priest or something. Assisi's what is it? It'll come to me in a second. But God grant me to fix it, to fix the things that I can change. Wait, oh my God, I'm completely screwing this up.
I know
as well. Yeah, change the things I can, and the wisdom, and the wisdom to know the difference of the things that I can't. Wow, I really screwed that one up. Anyway, so much for my quotes. Sometimes they don't come out very well, but the reality of it is we're not meant to fix everything, and sometimes things just need to be. And life is happening for us, my friends. So again, Yuri, thank you so much for being here. Tell us where we can find you. If somebody wants to reach out for you, to work with you, and to know more about you, where can they find you? What's your Instagram handle? What's your website? Where do you want them to go?
Yeah,
to find you?
So it's Yuri1C, YURI, number 1C for Instagram. You can also go to my website, yurichoicoaching.com. Or you can find me on Facebook. I'll tag myself here, and you also can find me there as well. And Tony, thank you so much for having me here. It was so wonderful to talk to you this morning, and then here, and then connect even more and be in front of your audience. And thank you all for watching. It's been so cool to connect with you guys here on a random Thursday in this quarantine. Yeah, it's actually YURI1C.
What oh shoot, hold on.
Oh my God, this is
sorry.
Comments. I just recognized that I can see them too.
Yuri1C. All right, there we go. I just fixed it.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
So much, Tony. I'm just so just so grateful to meet people like you, Dana, Eric. I just feel literally so blessed every single day. So thank you for being in my life.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And again, nothing happens by chance, right? So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And I honor you for your time, because like I say all the time that, our time is our most valuable asset, because once you give it away to someone, that's the one thing you cannot get back. Get back resources, money, whatever it is, but you can't get back your time. So I thank you for your time, and I honor you for the time that you spend here with us. Patrick is saying 3 buckets: control, influence, and neither 80 or 90% out of control, 10 to 20 on influence, 0% on neither. Okay. Anyway, my friends, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for sharing this video. If you feel that, if you feel that compelled to share, please do. Please share this video and join me on YouTube. Just type in #GetUpNGrow, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'd appreciate that. And do share this video with others, with your friends. Tag your friends and family. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being with me. And I will see you all again tomorrow, as we do this again every day during this fun times that we've got here. So appreciate you all. Thank you for coming. Remember, my friends, that life is not about how many times you fall. It's about getting up after every fall. And if you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. And it's in falling that you learn. It's in getting up that you grow. And every single time you fall, you have the opportunity to get up and grow. Appreciate you all. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye.